He attended one of the appointments, and I spoke with him on that date.
And did you say hi, how are you, and give him a handshake when you came in your office?
It was telemedicine.
It was what?
Telemedicine.
Telemedicine. Is it fair to say that after, 14, you said to the jury, 14 appointments that you had with Lindsay during that period from September till January? 14 appointments?
Yes.
Every single one of them were by telemedicine, weren't they?
Yes.
Until you came in this courtroom Friday, you never saw this woman in person, did you?
Correct.
Were you ever concerned about her mental health as a person?
Absolutely.
She was crying. She told you symptoms that she couldn't get out of bed. Isn't that right?
At one time, she said it was difficult to get out of bed
Oh, difficult to get out. Why was it difficult for Lindsay Clancy to get out of bed?
because she was very depressed.
And did you give her a hug? Oh, no, you're on telemedicine, so you couldn't give her a hug, could you? You didn't have any chance to even look at her in person, did you?
I could look at her. It was always a video appointment. I couldn't give her a hug, but that's not actually something that psychiatrists typically do with patients.
Lindsay Clancy broke down sobbing inside a Massachusetts courtroom, and by the time week 3 of her murder trial wrapped, jurors had heard 9 revelations about her medication, her care, and the months before her children died that are now splitting public opinion right down the middle. If you're just catching up, here's the backdrop. On January 24, 2023, inside her family's home in Duxbury, Massachusetts, Lindsay Clancy strangled her 3 children, 5-year-old Cora, 3-year-old Dawson, and 8-month-old Callan, using exercise resistance bands while her then husband Patrick was out running errands. She then attempted to take her own life, cutting her wrists and throat before jumping from a second-story window, a fall that left her permanently paralyzed from the waist down. Patrick came home to find the children in the basement and immediately called 911, a call so difficult to hear that jurors visibly reacted when prosecutors played it during opening testimony. Her defense has never disputed that she caused her children's deaths. What they're arguing instead is that Lindsay isn't criminally responsible because at the time, they say she was in the grip of severe postpartum psychosis, allegedly triggered by a combination of 13 different psychiatric medications prescribed in the months leading up to the killings. Medications they claim were mismanaged from the very beginning. Prosecutors see it entirely differently, arguing Lindsay knew exactly what she was doing, that she deliberately got Patrick out of the house so she could carry out the killings without interference, and that mental illness doesn't erase criminal responsibility. That collision of theories is exactly why this week's testimony landed so hard, starting with the revelation that defined the entire week. Dr. Jennifer Tufts, the psychiatrist who prescribed Lindsay's medication across 14 separate appointments, admitted under cross-examination that the very first time she ever saw her patient in person was the day she walked into that courtroom. Every one of those 14 sessions, spanning some of the most critical months of Lindsay's mental health crisis, happened entirely over a screen. No physical exam, no in-person read of her condition, nothing but a webcam connection between a new mother spiraling and the doctor managing her medication. It got worse from there because Dr. Tufts also confirmed she had been practicing independently for barely a month before Lindsay became her patient, meaning one of the most consequential psychiatric relationships in this entire case began with a doctor who was, by her own admission...
So you were practicing as a psychiatrist for a little more than a month.
I was practicing independently with my full credentials for about a month, but the training is just immense that goes on before that.
Now, in August of 22, up until when you saw Lindsay, how many patients in that month or so had you treated for postpartum psychosis?
How many patients in a month? Up until that
Yeah,
month?
I'm asking you about when you started working in August of 22 for Astor, and you are now on your own as an employee. How many patients had you treated before you saw Lindsay Clancy for postpartum psychosis?
Well, in the span of 1 month, I would say none because it's a very rare disorder.
Okay. But it exists, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And one of the things would be the voices that people hear, right?
That is a symptom of psychosis, absolutely.
And that's legitimate, isn't it?
It is a legitimate diagnosis,
No,
absolutely.
not the diagnosis. People that have postpartum psychosis hear voices, do they not?
Many do. The disorder can manifest differently in different people, but yes.
Brand new to solo practice. And there's a reason the defense kept circling back to her credibility. Dr. Tufts isn't only testifying as a witness, she's also named as a defendant in a separate, nearly 800-page civil lawsuit accusing her and several other providers of medical malpractice, a conflict of interest.
You're a defendant in a very large lawsuit, are you not?
Yes.
You wouldn't happen to be represented by an attorney, would you?
I am.
And the fact that you have an attorney is your right under the Constitution. It doesn't mean that you're guilty of anything, right?
Right.
Okay. And you know that the outcome of this case is very, very major to the outcome of your lawsuit. Is that right? Oh.
I don't actually know that.
So you understand that if, in fact, it's determined that you advertised as an expert in postpartum and in postpartum psychiatry, and you had a month experience plus a residency, would you consider that to be negligent or misrepresentation?
I do not believe that I have been negligent.
Jurors heard about directly from the defense. From there, cross-examination turned to the medication itself, specifically Zoloft, which Dr. Tufts had prescribed that fall. Under questioning, she confirmed the drug carries an FDA black box warning for increased suicidal and
Suicidal ideation and homicidal ideation. There's a black box warning on Zoloft, along with other SSRIs, right?
Under
Yes
age,
or no?
for children and adults younger than Lindsay.
Excuse me, doctor, I apologize. Can you just listen to my question and answer it yes or no? Is there a black box warning on Zoloft?
Yes.
Okay. And a black box warning is required or prescribed by what, the FDA?
Probably.
Probably. And it basically warns that, especially with young people or young adults, that it may cause suicidal or, God forbid, homicidal ideation. Yes?
homicidal thoughts in younger patients, and that one of its documented side effects is severe difficulty sleeping, the exact symptom Lindsay had already told her doctor.
When you were going over the symptomology or when you were going over the side effects of Zoloft, one of the side effects of Zoloft is, and I quote, severe trouble sleeping, right?
Yes.
Did you tell her that?
Well, insomnia is listed as a side effect.
No. You already said yes, you know it. Did you tell her that Zoloft has a side effect of giving the patient severe trouble sleeping? That's all.
So I didn't use the word severe because it typically doesn't cause severe trouble sleeping, but I thought you were referring to when she told me that she did have severe trouble sleeping, and that was true.
That's what she told you, right? That she had severe trouble sleeping, right?
She told me, yes.
And you know that one of the side effects of Zoloft is, let's say, trouble sleeping. You know that, right?
Yes.
She was struggling with. The defense pressed hard on why that specific medication was chosen for a new mother who could already barely function without sleep, and Dr. Tufts defended it as a standard first-line treatment, even as the back and forth with defense attorney Kevin Reddington grew more heated by the minute. That tension boiled over completely during one of the most talked about exchanges of the week, when Reddington confronted Dr. Tufts with her own clinical notes, which described Lindsay's speech. In the doctor's own written words, as not pressured, Reddington argued that once read in full, the note actually pointed to the opposite conclusion, a possible early sign of mania. And when he pushed her on it, Dr. Tufts insisted the jury was misreading her intent, even as he read her own documentation back to her almost word for word in front of everyone. It was messy, it was tense, and clips of that exchange spread fast the moment cameras caught it. Not every provider's testimony hurt the defense's case, though. Nurse practitioners Julie Paul, who Lindsay was first connected to through a referral from her mother-in-law Susan Clancy, and Rebecca Gerada, who both treated Lindsay after Dr. Tufts, testified they specifically screened her for suicidal thoughts, homicidal thoughts, hallucinations, and delusions.
Lindsay was recommended to by her mother-in-law, Susan Clancy.
Yes, I asked her specifically if she felt like she wanted to harm herself or her children, and she said no.
And how about asking her about homicidal ideations?
Yes.
And did she indicate whether she had any?
She did not.
Did you also ask her whether she had experienced any auditory hallucinations?
I did.
And did she experience any?
Not at the time, no.
And did she indicate to you whether she'd ever experienced any?
No.
How about visual hallucinations? Did you ask her about those?
I did.
And did she indicate that she had experienced any?
No.
And delusions, did you ask her whether she had any delusions?
I didn't ask
Disorder?
specifically about delusions, I believe.
I based this on several factors, one of them being that she had such what we call an activating response to the Zoloft. It's unusual for somebody to describe taking Zoloft and then going 48 hours without sleep and not being tired. So that raised my clinical suspicion a bit. And she had been, I would say, having difficulty tolerating other antidepressant medications that we had been trying to have her take since then. And so again, I'm wondering if it's because potentially there might be an underlying, what we call mood disorder, bipolar disorder.
And as far as the information that you had about her past psychiatric history, were there any indicators to you about manic episodes?
No.
And so while you noted that there were some concerns reported, did what was reported to you rise to the level of diagnostic criteria for bipolar disorder?
Not at that time.
And when you explained this to them, your thoughts about her reactions to the medication and these reported prior symptoms, did Patrick and Lindsay seem receptive to your diagnosis?
I recall Patrick saying my wife is not bipolar. Lindsay looked at me. She did not say anything.
The same day jurors heard all